Here's how you resolve a running play using the quick play rules of 49 football. We got 1978 Seattle set up. David Sims is a running back, and this play we're going to look at is an off-tackle run, which as you can see from here, his off-tackle rating is a 39, so that's called the starting rating number. Then what you're going to do is come down to the quick play chart, and because Seattle's on offense, you look at their side of the chart. You're going to roll a d20, and in this instance, the roll came up a 6. And so you look down the run side of the quick play chart, and this column here is the D20 roll. So it was a 6, so we look along this line. The left-hand side is for an in and an out run. The right-hand side is for off tackle and stretch. And so in this instance, it would be a -3 is going to be a modifier on his 39. So 39 minus 3 gives you 36. Now what you're going to do is you're going to flip over a game action card and you're going to see what's happening here, because there could be penalties, there could be fumbles. In this instance, there's nothing because those would be up there. But there is a modifier, so an off tackle is a +8. So to go through the whole math again, it's 39. We go to the quick play chart, which came up with the -3, so that made it 36. And then the game action card says to add 8 to it, so the final running number is a 44. So the next thing we'll do is we'll turn over a results card, and then we'll look down. The running plays are all here on the left-hand side. 40 to 49 is where the 44 is. So in that instance, it would be a 5-yard gain. Nice run for David Sims. Now let's look at an example of where maybe he is going to do an outside run. His outside run rating is 42. And we're going to roll another dice again, and this time it comes up in his favor, so it's a 17. 17 is along the bottom row, and inside and outside is the left, off tackle stretch is the right. Because this is an outside run, you're going to add 11. So he's at 42. The influence is offense, and it's +11. Then we're going to turn over a game action card and see what it gives us. And you see there's a potential for a penalty on the play. Well, there probably is a penalty on the play. You can resolve that now, or you can wait till the end of the play. I'm going to wait till the end of the play. You can see the modifier from this game action card is 0. So back through this again. David Sims' outside run is 42. The influence is a 17, which makes it a +11, so that makes it a 53. There's nothing from the game action card. We flip over the results card, and we see that a 53 is a 6-yard gain. So again, a little bit above what the average would be on those two cards, but that would be a good run for David Sims. But there was a penalty on the play. And so let's see what the penalty is all about. So we turn over the next card, and we see that the penalty is, because this is a south version of the game, those penalties are on the left, the north version are on the right. And that's because the north has more penalties and they're not always the same. And so to get the distribution properly, it had to break out into 2 categories. So over on the left, these are the South Division. And then if there's that -N star, anything to the right of that means that's the North Division, or North, the CFL basically. And so there's a potential false start, which means that if you roll a d20, if it's between 1 and 14, and this is the home team, and Seattle is the home team this game, that means they had a false start. If it was 1 to 18, if it was the visitors, so if it was Denver, that would mean it's a false start. And so this card also has a couple of the other interesting things going on it. There's a review, 1 to 7. And what that means is that if you roll a d20 and the roll is 1 to 7, the play stands as it's called. And so in this instance, remember this was a 6-yard gain. And so for instance, if we go up here and we say that 6-yard gain, maybe put them up to be right at the 50-yard line. And so then you're going to roll to see if it's a first down and say it was a first down. Well, that's where this review comes in. You could use your review, your challenge. Of course, back in 1978, the season I'm playing this game, they didn't have a review. But that's how you would do the challenge on a running play. Typically, it's only if you've maybe within a ½ yard of a first down or a ½ yard of getting a touchdown is when the review would come in. Or if there's a fumble, sometimes you can review maybe the runner was down by contact. And so that's what this next cell here is. It says there's a potential for a team, if they're rated FF, that means that there's potential for a fumble. And when you look at Denver, you can see their rating is FF, and where that comes from is their team chart. When you look up here, you can see there's an FF near their fumble recovery rating. And so that means they potentially could force fumbles. And the reason they get an FS is because they had more than 18 forced fumbles in a season. And the way you resolve that is by rolling D20. And if it's within the range of the running back, and where that is on David Sims, his fumble rating is a 1 to 6. So I roll a D20. If it comes up 1 to 6, then there's a fumble on the play. And what you would do is you're going to turn over the next game action card then to determine where the fumble happened. And if in this instance, it would have happened at the end of the run. So 6 yards after he gained 6 yards is where the fumble would have happened. Okay, here's another card that shows a fumble on a run. So if this card would have come up, then you know there was a potential fumble again, and so you roll the D20. And if it's within his range, that means there's a fumble. And then to determine who recovers it, the defense gets to roll a D20. In this instance, Denver, their fumble recovery range is 1 to 9. If they rolled a 1 to 9 on that D20, that means Denver will get the ball. Then they get a chance to return the fumble. Defense always gets a chance to return the fumble. And so you roll another D20, and you'd come over here to their kick and returns chart. And along this bottom row here, the fumble return, you can see they have a couple of touchdowns, but they also could fumble the ball again too. That's how you resolve a fumble. Now, if offense has recovered the fumble, say Seattle fumbled it and they got the ball back, sometimes on this card here, beside shows where fumble QB, it says ORET, which means offense gets to return. So a lot of times what I will do is I'll just flip over the next card, and if they have that ORET, that means offense gets to return the fumble. Somebody scooped up the ball and they maybe get to take off with it. And so you'd roll the D20, you go to Seattle, their fumble return, and you look along their fumble return row to see how far they return the fumble. Okay, a couple more things on the results action cards that you're going to come across. And these here are these SA and SA plus and SB ratings. And that's the order of kind of priority. Every running back, every receiver has an SA rating. Some have an SA plus and some have an SB. If we take a look at, this is Denver, you can see Keyworth, he had an SB. Otis Armstrong was only an SA plus. All the rest of them had SBs. That means they all had long gains during the year. If you go to Seattle, well, David Sims is an SB, Smith, Hunter, SBs, Testerman and Crawford are SAs. And what that means is, say the run was, in this instance, it was a 50. Can't remember that was 53. So that would be an SA. And that SAs are automatic. What you're going to do is you're going to take the next results action card, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to take the result of the SA. If, however, on the previous run where Sims' number was between 40 and 49, you see it says SA plus. And that means that the running back has to be rated SA plus or SB for it to work. But also with that plus, you need to roll to see if you actually get the extra yards on the play. So David Sims, he's rated SB, so he would. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll the D12. And if it's within Seattle's offensive run rating, which at home was an 8, so a 1 to 8 out of 12, would mean that he gets the longer gain, which is an SA, because that's what it says, SA plus. And then you're going to flip over a card. And this time the SA would be a 14-yard gain for him. So that's the differences with the SA, the SB, and the SB plus. You don't see that on here with the plus for the SB, but if there's a plus, it means you roll the dice to see if they are able to get that longer gain. Now this next card up here that we have shows an N in front instead of the S's. And all that means, the only difference in that is, that's for the North. That's for the CFL only, because they have a few more longer gains in their in the game. So you would just resolve it the same way. So you can see there's an NB plus. If it was just NB and there was no plus after it, then they automatically get that long gain as long as they're rated SB. And then there's one more with the running, and this gives the defense a chance to make a play where he sees SA minus. So if this is the card that have flipped over for either of the two examples that we looked at, there's an SA minus. So now what you're going to do is you're going to look at the defenses, defensive run, and in this case for Denver is a 5 because they're on the road. If they were at home, they'd be 6. You're going to roll the D12. If it's 1 to 5, you're going to subtract 4 yards from the next card. So what you do is, if it was the 50 to 59, you're going to flip it over, and wow, see, this is a good card. They got 8 yards, but somebody made a good tackle and they limited it actually to 4 yards. And you can see if the defense had guessed properly and the number was lower, well, that's one way that the defense actually gets to make some good stops on the play. So if you have any questions, make sure you post on Facebook or the Delphi forums, or email me at grant.fines@icloud.com.